RPM, Radio Performance Motorsports. Motorsports radio done the right way.
Hello, hello.
Michai, are you there?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Racing Wire Radio.
Speak up a little bit
Ryan
more loudly.
Polinsky out here on the left coast. Big Daddy G-Dub is holding fort on the right coast, and we have a Racing Wire radio show historic moment here, G-Dub.
Go ahead.
Like 18 guests at the same time.
I don't know quite 18 guests there, Double B, but we got a gaggle here. You know what? After 3 intense days of competition and 5 races, plus media interviews and instructor evaluations, a new champion has been crowned for the 2014 Skip Barber Championship Scholarship Shootout. 2013 Karts to Car Scholarship champion Luke Gabin from Australia is a new champion for the 2014 Skip Barber Championship Scholarship Shootout. As a champion, he'll receive a prize of, wait for it, 200,000 large from Mazda Motorsports to move into USF 2000. Now, also, this year's shootout proved to be pretty exciting. The first 4 races of the event had a different winner, proving that the talent for the shootout was unparalleled. We had races from, as we mentioned, Australia, the United States, Mexico, and China. And they were only there for 3 days to make these races happen. And entering the last race of the day, only 3 points separated IndyCar Academy champion Michai Stevens and Karts to Car Scholarship champion Luke Gabin. Gabin needed a first-place finish to secure the coveted top spot, which he managed to do. In the last lap, Gabin was able to cross the finish line in first, passing Jorge Herrera to secure the championship. The championship shootout overall top 5 drivers are Luke Gabin, Michai Stevenson, Jack Mitchell Jr., Jorge Herrera, and Nikita Lastochin. That almost sounds like a spy. I don't know. Nikita, you're going to have to call me and give me the correct pronunciation of your name. But joining us on the line, we have 3 of those fine competitors, those young racers, Luke Gabin, I'm sure, Michai Stevens, and Jack Mitchell Jr. are joining us on the Racing Wire radio show hotline, along with, I guess you could call him sort of a mentor, Kelly Jones out of Racecraft 1 out in Indianapolis, who had a lot to do with the formative measures that help these drivers along their way. So welcome, everybody. Make sure is everybody there? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, looks like everybody's there. Okay, great. Hey.
You didn't set up a 900 number for our show, did you, G-Dub?
No. We got these guys. We're using modern technology here. So you know what? I'm going to start with Luke. Luke, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Luke, is it Gabin or Gabin?
It's Gabin. Yeah, it's
Luke Gabin. So I was right. I had it right. Luke Gabin joining us all the way from Australia this morning. No, I know you're probably not. Or are you? Where are you today?
No, I'm actually in Canada at the moment, out of Windsor, just out of Detroit.
Really Canada.
Yeah. So not really Canada, but yeah, technically.
Well, first of all, congratulations on claiming the championship, the Skip Barber Championship. Now, I was supposed to get a whole bunch of bios on you guys, but for some reason the technology failed us, and I didn't get a bio. But that's okay. You have quite a resume attached to you coming into racing. Now, I'm sure that just like everybody else, I don't want to ask the same old tired questions, but get your start. Did you get your start in go-karts, or were you a club racer, or how'd you come to the Skip Barber series?
I kind of got my start in kart racing, pretty much. I did that for 5 years, going up through junior and then senior ranks, and just last year we decided to get into Skip Barber, and here I am, I guess.
That's awesome. Now, what is kart racing similar in Australia as it is here in the States? Basically, 2-stroke single-cylinder engines, or did you race 4 strokes? Did you race mostly on dirt? Did you race mostly on asphalt? How'd you do that?
No, it was asphalt two-stroke races. That's the most popular in Australia. We have a bunch of categories that are two-stroke. The ones I raced in 100cc junior, and then I went up to 125 tag, and I raced a bit of KF and shifter carts.
Okay, all right, and all of that you feel was helpful in your formative years in order to make the transition into big cars into the Skip Barber series.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely formed me as a racer to get ready into going into cars. I mean, it's quite a big step, but it readied me for sure.
Now, how did Skip Barber come on your radar? I mean, down under as we refer to you Aussies over there. I mean, how does Skip Barber pop up?
I hadn't really heard of much of it. The way I really found out was playing iRacing. They had the Skip Barber racing car on there, and I kind of we thought about getting into racing cars, and I researched the best options, and I came across the Skip Barber Racing School, and then we found out about the karting shootout, and we attended that, and I ended up winning it. So.
See, double B, that computer simulation that I've been telling you.
Keep telling me that.
I keep telling you about that. Keep that in mind. We have another guest that we're going to talk to that figures prominently in that computer simulation there. Okay, stay with us, Luke. Michai, are you there?
I am. I gotcha. You got me.
Hey, Michai, welcome to the show. Congratulations. You know what they say. Finishing second is like kissing your sister.
Hey, there you go. Whatever we got to say to make it right. Thanks for having us on the show, though, fellas.
No problem at all. Now, just because you came runner up in the championship shootout, that's no small feat. I mean, you guys had to work real hard to get where you got to, and you've also got a little bit of a curriculum vitae as well on your resume. You finished second in the shootout, but you were also selected by the RRDC, the Road Racing Drivers Club, to be part of Team USA and attend the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch and the Walter Hayes Trophy at Silverstone. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, well that was another blessing within itself. I mean, definitely a great opportunity, and big thanks to Jeremy Shaw and the whole Team USA scholarship program you got. I mean, you got so many great supporters. Jack Mitchell's also had an opportunity to experience that as well some years before me. But the Formula Ford Festival, just going over to England, uh, and facing the stiff competition out there, new set of rules, it was just a totally different ball game. You learn how to. It's almost like learning how to play basketball in the States, and then you get over there, and it's like like I said, a whole new game. But the Formula Ford Festival, it kind of beat me up a little bit. I was unable to actually finish a race, whether it had been a heat race, a semifinal, and I didn't even make it to the final there. Just some bad luck, and I was kind of the gopher when it came to finding the oil that was let out by another car prior to.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I felt like my teammate Aaron Tellitz and he rocked it out as far as the Formula Ford Festival goes. I feel like I stripped all the bad luck away from him and let him do his thing, and then the tables kind of flipped when we got to the Walter Hayes event down in Silverstone.
What can you take away from the experience? I mean, aside from having other people's accidents and that kind of bad luck situation, what can you take away positive from that kind of experience?
I mean, I think every moment, whether it be good or bad, you take away positives. With the negatives, there's always a chance to learn from it. So it's essentially you try and flip that script around and say, okay, this, even if I crash out or if something I can't even finish a race, we're gonna learn from it. Positives though, I mean, it allowed me to fine tune a lot of things internally and externally when it came.
Okay, we're going to talk a bit more with all of you guys after the break here too. But before we go to break, though, we want to have the third driver who is joining us here today weigh in. Jack Mitchell, you with us?
Yep, with you.
Hey, Jack, how are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
So far, so good. Congratulations on making it to the shootout and getting on the podium. You're out of Chicago, right?
Yeah, currently living in Milwaukee, attending Marquette University, but I'm originally from Chicago. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. What are you studying at
Go
Marquette?
Eagles.
I'm studying biology and economics.
A bio major. Okay, my significant other is going to be excited to hear that. That's pretty cool.
So G-Dub, he's faster and smarter than us.
Any day of the week, obviously. Jack, you've been racing karts since about 14. I guess you went to Skip Barber. You got the most improved in your first year racing there with Skip Barber. You raced in the Toyo Tires Formula 1600 series. You won the Rookie of the Year in that. You finished third overall. You were the 2012 vice champion of Skip Barber's Summer Series. So after we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about what exactly a vice champion is. But you were also selected for Team USA to go to England. So stick with us. Stay with us. We got to go to break. We got to do a little bit of business. But then when we come back, we're going to talk more to these three promising young drivers. You're listening to the Racing Wire radio show on the RPM Motorsports Radio Network.
You're listening to RPM Radio, motorsports radio done the right way.
And we're back on the Racing Wire radio show. Brian Belansky here. Big Daddy G-Dub's with us as well. And we also have a cast of characters on the line. I'm taking liberties by referring to you all as characters, but I'm pretty certain that's probably accurate. Getting back to now that we've got all the bios out of the way, and we know that you're all done what you needed to do to get to where you are. Time to get to the nitty-gritty here. I find it interesting, guys, that the Americans went to Britain and the Australian came to America to do a little bit of racing, and I find that to be interesting. Luke, how come you decided to come here to the States rather than head over to Europe? Because I'm guessing that's probably where more of the Australian drivers are pointing towards, right?
Yeah, I mean, I came to America mostly because the money aspect and the way the scholarships are set up. It's extremely useful compared to anywhere in Australia that you can go to race and Europe.
So if you were headed to Europe, you'd have to flip your own bill, and by coming here, there's more opportunities for the scholarships than there are in Europe. Is that basically it?
Yeah, I mean that was the biggest factor for coming here, is the scholarship opportunities.
What about the competition level? You find it easier to beat up on the Yanks than it is to beat up on the Europeans?
Definitely not. I mean, the competition level is huge here. I mean, I feel like it doesn't get said enough. I mean, they always say European is so much more competition, but I think America is just as competitive as anywhere else.
That leads me to what my next question was going to be for Michai and for Jack. You guys went over to Europe and to Britain and did the Formula Ford stuff over there. Comparing that competition with what you see here in the States, obviously you had some issues. One of you guys had a lot of issues in the race, but what was your thoughts on the competition there versus the competitions here?
Yeah, Michai, or I guess you can go.
Michai, you can go first.
Alrighty. And excuse me, fellas, for earlier that my phone was cutting out on me. But I feel
sound like you were milking a cow or something there. We didn't know what was going on.
Was it that bad? Oh boy. Well, at least I made it interesting for you guys. So my apologies on that bit. But in regards to the competition level, I think as Luke kind of mentioned, the competition is pretty stiff both in the States and overseas. But I think with the rules that are applied is when it comes to head-to-head racing, it kind of makes it appear possibly as if the competition overseas is maybe a little more tense in a way. So that would be my comment there. Is competition is pretty equal both here and there, but the rules allow for some folks to get away with some other stuff over there than they are here in the States.
Are you referring to as far as the way they drive or what they're doing with the cars themselves?
I would say drive techniques as far as racecraft goes. That what is allowed in terms of defending your position.
You're being very diplomatic.
One more time, sir.
I said you're being very diplomatic.
Well, you got to be respectful to both parties. And it's just two different styles of going about it. And living and learning how to deal with both definitely rounds you as a driver. I'd have to say.
Jack,
Jack,
you race go karts, and I guess that go kart racing probably is the closest that you're going to get to the way that the Europeans race. So, did you find your background in karting as well as the experiences that you got with the Skip Barber series helpful when you went across the big water?
Um, I mean, yeah, I found it helpful. I really didn't do a lot of go karting. I just did a lot of indoor stuff when I was younger, just for fun with my family. But it definitely, I mean, once I got into Skip Barber, it definitely helped because I feel like the quickest people in Skip Barber were just as quick as anyone overseas. There was definitely that top, 5% of speed was definitely the same. Like there was no big difference between speed, but the aggression overseas was definitely. I agree with Michai a little steeper, but yeah, no, the difference between the driving was definitely kind of mended by the karting in the beginning, but nothing could compare to that first feeling you get when you start a race in Europe, and nothing could really prepare you for it at all. So that was interesting.
for each of you guys, where do you go next, and what's your long term goal? Where do you want to be? You want to go to Formula One? You want to go to IndyCar? You want to go to sports cars? Where would your career point to if you could write your own ticket?
Right in our go right ahead, Jack. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, I would say definitely to just drive an Indy car at one point. But for next year, USF 2000, Monster Road to Indy would be the goal. It's a pretty steep financial curve, but I think we've got some good things planned for the off season to put it together. So hopefully we can find some funding and get this year going.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, and as you guys kind of mentioned, fairy tale stories. I mean, Formula One would be an absolute honor to be out there doing that bit. But IndyCar, just the top level of open wheel racing, as I've been saying, kind of in the states or overseas, is my goal, is my dream. As of next year is concerned, I'm really not being able to take hold of the scholarship dollars there from the championship shootout. I'm just really trying to figure out what's my best next step. I think I'm, as a driver, prepared for USF 2000. As Jack alluded to, the budget is steep. So be it. We all know that, and we're gonna see what we can do to make it happen.
And Luke?
Uh, yeah, I mean, short term goal is USF 2000, and go up the Mazda Road to Indy to IndyCar. That's definitely the long term goal.
and you
Fantastic. Kelly, you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, there he is. These are some pretty impressive young men that you've been working with here.
All three of them are tremendous drivers, and to see them what they did at Road Atlanta last week, Monday through Wednesday, was just phenomenal.
Joining us is Kelly Jones. He is the principal for Racecraft One out in the Indianapolis area there. Kelly, tell us, tell the listeners a little bit about. You've been on the show, you're a friend of the show before, but refresh our listeners' memories about what Racecraft One does and how it was beneficial to these young men to take advantage of that.
Well, we specialize in training, basically teaching racing. We teach trackside, and then when we're not at trackside, we use professional simulation. What we do is we apply training methods and rules and techniques from combat and commercial aviation. So that it's scenario based and it's structured so we can zero in on the exact skills that we want to work on.
So now, I'm gonna, I can't help but sit here. I'm chuckling to myself because I can see the two Americans sitting here, looking at the Australian, giving him the stink eye, coming over here, taking the 200 grand and going home with it. But all of you guys did before you did any of the simulator training with Kelly. Did you guys do any computer racing, simulator racing?
My background in simulator based stuff is more. Kelly refers to it as simulation, which is the appropriate context for that. It's a whole new level in comparison to video games with two joysticks and a couple paddles behind your fingers, and that was my background on the Xbox and on the PlayStation, kind of just feeling things out, and that's where I'd like to say I kind of developed my first understanding for racecraft back in the day when I was about 12. But from there, working with Kelly, he's obviously showed us the great benefits behind using simulation in its proper form.
Yeah,
What?
I never. Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
never had the opportunity to make it over to racecraft, but hopefully one day I will. But as far as simulation goes, I'm a big fan of iRacing. I think it's a huge help. I did countless hours before I went to the shootout, and I feel like it really helps quite a bit. It really gives you that sensation. And Kelly does a wonderful job, from what I've heard, of really making big jumps in the simulator aspect of racing.
What about you, Luke? Did you do any do any?
Yeah, I did quite a lot of sim racing actually. Back in a few years back when I was in Australia, before I got into Skip Barber, I did a lot of iRacing, did a lot of R Factor, and it really, I feel it really prepares you mentally, especially for the long distance races, coping with the stress and things like that.
So, Kelly, now you've heard these guys weigh in on it, and it seems like across the board, they're all in agreement that the simulator training is beneficial. It does help. Um, how intense a program can you guys put together to help these guys, these youngsters, move up the ladder?
I think Luke alluded to the higher level of training that we can address using simulation because of its accessibility. So we can take the drivers and put them in longer races with variable conditions where they have to actually think on their feet, manage their attention so that their attention isn't, say, zeroed in on the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so what we do is that basically builds up their mental acuity and their mental stamina. And that's probably the higher level. That's the higher level. What we do is getting into the racer's psychology and tension management portion of it.
Well, that
Kelly,
is that is awesome. Unfortunately, guys, we are running out of time here. We want to wish you guys all the very best of luck in your careers. We're going to hope that as you move up the ladder and progress, that you will keep the Racing Wire Radio Show in your mind and come back and join us and keep us abreast of your progress. Luke Gabin, Michai Stevens, and Jack Mitchell Jr. joining us here, along with Kelly Jones from Racecraft One. These are the stature podium for the Skip Barber Championship Shootout. Congratulations, guys, and good luck in the future.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very
Thanks,
much.
Thank you
thanks for
very
having
much, Dub,
us.
Brian.
All right, so we're going to come back and do more of the Racing Wire Radio Show right after these words.